Hey, guys, you guys see my volleyball back there? Trying to do Top Gun. Guys? Are those production workers on fucking strike again? I told them to stop watching those fucking Bernie Sanders videos. Hey, guys, get back here. What is up, guys? It's me, Justin Carney, of course, a.k.a. Almost Tom Cruise, a.k.a. the sexiest man alive. And let's get started. It's the Power Rankings, guys. Once again, the highly anticipated sequel. It's The Empire Strikes Back, guys, and it's going to be just as good. Trust me. All right, obviously last week I had a little bit of trouble getting the video uploaded because I'm not really familiar with the video upload software, but this time I got learned and I know exactly what I'm doing, so it's not going to take so long. That's the scoop, guys. So without further ado, let's get right in to these power rankings. Let's get it kicked off, guys. Number 12, okay? This has been somewhat of a consistent theme, but guess what? This isn't going to be the same consistent theme, guys. Coming in at number 12, it is not Sean Bates. It is Brendan Costello. And what is your new team name now? Pit of Misery Dilly Dilly. I have no idea what that means, but it feels very fitting for your team. Obviously, Sean has been in last place almost his entire season, but he has outscored your team the last 2 weeks. Clearly, his team is trending just slightly more upward than you, but it's all the same, really. Nobody cares. Let's delve deeper now into this week. You were my matchup. I was very, very excited to have you as my matchup, and your lack of running backs is the reason for that. C.J. Anderson and Frank Gore, ugh. All that Colts offense was cancer. Gore didn't stand a chance. And after this loss, now 0-7, your team is as dead as goose. Is that too soon? I know it's my wingman, but got to be honest with you guys. Big time loss for you this week, 0-7. I'm trying to keep this short. Not much to say, really. Just the same old song and dance for you. And so now we're going to move on. Moving on, guys, to number 11. Spoiler alert, I already said who this was. It is Foreheads on Warheads, stealing my name and just reversing it. I actually kind of thought it was funny when I first saw it, so congrats on that. Unfortunately, I can't congratulate you on the 69 points you scored this week, but hey, at least Rob Gronkowski is happy, as well as maybe some immature 8th graders who, him and Rob Gronkowski, they probably have pretty similar IQs as it is. So moving on now, a little bit more analysis. The Duke Johnson Jr., Doug Martin running back pair, unfortunately for you, is exactly as pathetic as it sounds. Only 13 points between the two of them. Cooks actually got to double digits. But I think the weirdest thing of all was your play of Redskins defense. Not sure if you just hate Native American people or you don't know anything about fantasy football, or both. At this point, there's not too many logical explanations as to why you would pick up and start the Redskins defense against the Eagles. I mean, I just don't see it, Sean. This is exactly why you have not won a game yet. Decisions like this, simply a microcosm of your terrible season. So I'm looking forward to the next time I play you. Not really sure when that is, but I got my first win against you, and hopefully I will get something more than my third win against you next time we meet. Moving right along in our rankings, number 10, guys, it is fuck Donald Trump. That is just me merely stating the team name, not my own personal political opinion. Please don't tell the Navy that I said that. Anyway, fuck Donald Trump is our number 10 team. Jared Meyer. I predicted this. I predicted my team would surpass you, and this prediction in these rankings has come true, guys. Jared Meyer, what happened this week? All right, certain instances, it would seem like it was actually a good week for you. You have a heavy reliance on the Seattle Seahawks offense, which up until this point has been fantasy desolation. There's just been nothing there all year. This week, though, you got some good points. Jimmy Graham scored 11 and Doug Baldwin scored 15, which is great news for you because Doug Baldwin has performed more like Doug Bald lose for most of the season. I know, I'm sorry guys, that was kind of a bad joke, and I really don't know why I'm reaching for so much material when I already have a great joke here, which is just your entire roster because you have a terrible team. 0 from Adam Vinatieri, 0 from Demaryius Thomas, and 1 from Randall Cobb, who, with this injury to Aaron Rodgers, went from buttery, delicious corn on the cob to Cobb salad. Emphasis on the salad. Fuck that shit. Moving right along in our rankings, number 10, guys, it is fuck Donald Trump. That is just me merely stating the team name, not my own personal political opinion. Please don't tell the Navy that I said that. Anyway, fuck Donald Trump is our number 10 team, Jared Meyer. I predicted this. I predicted my team would surpass you, and this prediction in these rankings has come true, guys. Jared Meyer, what happened this week? All right, certain instances, it would seem like it was actually a good week for you. You have a heavy reliance on the Seattle Seahawks offense, which up until this point has been fantasy desolation. There's just been nothing there all year. This week, though, you got some good points. Jimmy Graham scored 11 and Doug Baldwin scored 15, which is great news for you because Doug Baldwin has performed more like Doug Bald lose for most of the season. I know, I'm sorry guys, that was kind of a bad joke, and I really don't know why I'm reaching for so much material when I already have a great joke here, which is just your entire roster because you have a terrible team. 0 from Adam Vinatieri, 0 from Demaryius Thomas, and 1 from Randall Cobb, who, with this injury to Aaron Rodgers, went from buttery, delicious corn on the cob to Cobb salad. Emphasis on the salad. Fuck that shit. Moving right along, guys, to what normally is my least favorite part of the video, which is where I have to talk about how I lost again, but actually this week now becomes my favorite part of the video. Number 9 in the rankings at their highest mark ever, it is Warheads on Foreheads, guys. And now that I bring my team up, it is also now time to bring up the stat of the week, the crazy stat of the week, which I just made up arbitrarily. And I did some work with my research and development team, aka my laptop, and surfed through the last 4 weeks of fantasy football scores. And what I found was that my team, since week 4, which is also the first week I won a game, I am second in this league in points. That's right, guys. Since week 4, I have scored more points than Nate Solly, OGAP, Nibs, Cam, Chris, Pablo, everyone, except Gabo. Gabo's the only one that has outscored me over the past 4 weeks. My team is trending way up. Unfortunately, only 2-2 in that span. Really was hoping that I'd be at least 3-1 with the second most points over a 4-week span, but you get what you get. Sometimes it's just not your year. At least my team's not a laughing stock. Le'Veon Bell, just ringing the Liberty Bell over and over again. Huge yards game again for Bell this week. Didn't get in the end zone, but who needs to when you get 130 yards rushing and over 50 yards receiving, guys. Jordan Reed outscoring Dez Bryant. That's a trade that's been called into question. Gabo has won that trade so far, but I will concede that the gap got a little bit tighter in that trade now that Jordan Reed is looking once again like Jordan Reed, guys. So look for me more in the future. I'm playing Jared. Jared, you can try and take over my spot this week and get back to the spot you were in the power rankings before, but hopefully that will not happen, and I will continue my meteoric rise from the ashes to being somewhat relevant again down the stretch in this league. Moving right along in these rankings, guys, let's talk about number 8, the Crazy Eights, guys, and let's talk about a guy who really threw it back this week. Chris Hasenheier, throwing it back to last year. In other words, this has been the worst throwback since those Steelers' ridiculous throwback uniforms, the Bumblebee costumes, as they called them. This throwback is, I'm going to say, even worse than that. And speaking of throwbacks, why don't we just throw it back real quick to a clip last week in our power rankings that I think really proves that I may have some scary kind of seeing into the future stuff. Let's take a look here, guys. Now, I can see, Chris, that you did not capitalize God yet. Still waiting on that. He's pretty angry now at this point. He thinks you're fucking with him. And I have a feeling if you don't change it, one of your big-time players is going to get injured. Now, as you just clearly saw, I predicted Carson Palmer's injury, Chris. All you had to do was change one letter in your team name, and you could have avoided all of this. Your season could have been right on track. Unfortunately, you were lazy, and you also might be an actual Satan worshiper, because you did not capitalize God, and now look what happens. Your quarterback is out for the season. His arm broken, just like your dreams now. You fall way down in the power rankings, not just because of Carson Palmer's injury, but because of the impact this is going to have on Larry Fitzgerald, who you benched this week, and may as well bench the rest of the season, because I think we all remember what happened last time Carson Palmer got injured and Arizona had to put in a backup QB. They had the fewest yards in the history of the NFL playoffs. So good luck with that, Chris. God always wins. That's the moral of the story. Obviously, now you know that it's much too late. No one ever listens to me. Some have said that I am not a genius. I would never say something that stupid. I have always said that I am, and I think I just proved it, guys. So good luck with that, Chris. Peace. Gentlemen, it is time for the number 7 team in these power rankings, guys. Drum roll, please. Ajay Hard. Okay, Cam, you named your team Ajay Hard, so you think you're fucking Bruce Willis now. Well, this just in, Pablo Yippee-Ki-Yay, your motherfucking ass, right out of contention this week. Your team got blown out. You just got smashed. I mean, 59 points. It was the second lowest total. Chris barely edged you out for worst performance this week. Pablo just destroyed you, and really, you almost destroyed yourself more. You could have had a respectable point total, but you chose to start Marcus Mariota instead of Carson Wentz. Okay, so at this point, I'm sure you're starting to realize Carson Wentz is one of those guys that is an every week quarterback, okay? He's now on that Tom Brady fantasy level. All the big names, Aaron Rodgers before he got hurt. He is an every week player. He has to be there every week for you. He's number 2 in points at the quarterback spot this season. He is having a huge year, and you left him on your bench, and you played Mariota. I see that you tried to exploit that Cleveland matchup, but Cam, you got to start using your brain, guy. All right, you use that brain of yours to maneuver a trade for Adrian Peterson, which seemed like a great idea at the time until he gets fucking lit up. The Rams had a terrible run defense going into that game. Leonard Fournette just carved him up. You thought, oh man, Peterson is just going to look like his old vintage self. Well, those dreams died right on the vine, Cam, and your team suffered as a result. The one player who did get double digits for you was Kareem Hunt. So congrats on that. Jay Ajayi, your team namesake, has been so inconsistent, so unreliable. Mark him down as a bust. Let's just be real honest about that. Sorry I had to move you down, but I mean, there's just nothing I can do with a 59-point performance. You have to plummet. I mean, I really don't have any other choice, Cam. You left me with no choice. All right? That's the way it goes. Better luck next time, and peace out. All right, guys, middle of the pack time. Number 6, six-pack. Let's talk about rowing on the rivers. Nibs, your team is sort of like my abs here, okay? Clearly, they're looking better, but they still have a little bit more to go before you can reach that big-time level. And this week, you got 90 points. It's 2 straight weeks for you that you've been over 90 after you've just really struggled to put up big numbers ever since that rough start for your points, but still getting wins. Your team has sort of taken off a little bit, and the working theory on that is 2 things. One, your quarterback played much better. Russell Wilson, is he having that late season charge that he normally has? Is he getting that started? 26 points. That's good fantasy numbers by any standard from the quarterback spot. And then number 2, and even more importantly for you, is that Julio Jones against the league's worst pass defense, where you knew that he had to have a big game this week to really bounce back, and he comes through, gets a touchdown against the Patriots, albeit a garbage time touchdown. It's all the same in fantasy football. You know how it is. Good on you for having Julio Jones. Your kicker and defense have continued to sort of up that point total a little bit. You beat Nate Solly. That was a tough matchup coming in. You came out on top. Congratulations. You're number 6 on the rankings. There's 6 playoff spots. And what do you know? You're filling one of those spots now. A good record for your team. No question about it. Still at number 6 with potential, again, as I always say, to move up. Potential to do even better. Jordan Howard didn't have a good week. Derrick Henry did not have a good week, nor did anyone on that Tennessee Titans team, besides, of course, Ryan Suckup, who I played. Smart. But Nibs, I've been impressed. You stuck with it. Your team was not performing well. You were very lucky at the beginning of the year. Now you're starting to round out rowing on the rivers. One last point. You don't have Philip Rivers anymore. Clearly very excited about that pun. Something with Russell Wilson coming soon, maybe? I don't know. Just a thought. Usually player puns are with players you actually own. So that's going to wrap it up for you. Better luck next week. Continuing to try and get that 3rd straight 90-point performance. We'll see how that goes. We'll be monitoring very closely. All right. It's time. Number 5. Getting into that top 5. 5 golden rings. 5 for fighting. It's Trump 2020 and Jake Smith. Guys, let's talk about Jake Smith. Now, he's 6-1, tied for the best record in this league, and the more he wins, the less impressive it is, it seems like. 78 points, very modest total, and especially when you consider that he had almost half of those points from Derek Carr's big performance, and between the quarterback and the kicker in his box score, it's just a mess, to be quite honest with you. Let's delve a little deeper. Mike Gillislee, you've got to find a way to get him out of your lineup. How many more times is he going to have to shit the bed before you just put someone else in? Anyone else? He sucks. He has gotten 3 points this week. I mean, I implore you, now that Lamar Miller is back, if you don't get this guy out of your lineup, I mean, you should just quit playing fantasy football. He's a complete dud. Anyone can see that. Some of your other failures this week, Keenan Allen is struggling lately. Delaney Walker on a bye week, he actually, had a fumble this week, rare for a tight end. You're 6-1, and there's always going to be that argument of the team that keeps winning. The team with the best record should be higher in the power rankings. Whatever, man. Your team has got to get better. You've got to step up these point totals because you're slipping in the points rankings. You've been getting very lucky all season, and so eventually that's going to run out. So unless the point totals start coming against these top-level teams, you are not going to be 6-1 for long, and you're going to start to fall in these rankings. Sorry about that, but that's just the way it has to be. It's based on roster. I was actually debating on putting Nibs ahead of you, and if this continues more into the future, I will end up having to move some guys up in your stead. So just keep that in mind. I'm sure things are going to get better for you with some Houston Texans guys coming out their bye week. But until you see a point total increase, I am not moving you up in the power rankings. That's just the bottom line. Moving right along, guys. Number 4 in the power rankings, Quattro. And It is. Mind the O-gap coming up big. I dropped O-gap way down there in the power rankings last week after Aaron Rodgers' injury. And part of my prediction came true. Jordy Nelson did suffer heavily. One catch for 13 yards. In the words of Mr. Benjamin, you are going to struggle. But after that, it just gets way better for you. Tons of good performances. Greg Zuerlein, 17 points. When you get 17 from a kicker, that is big-time stuff, and it's not often you double your opponent's score. Chris and OGAP, a huge mismatch this week. Todd Gurley, you're going to suffer from having him on a bye next week, but this week, he absolutely crushed it once again, 20 points, and then Dak Prescott. I mean, you replaced Aaron Rodgers with Dak Prescott, and you could have replaced him with anyone any better than this guy, taking advantage of a matchup that has been everyone's wet dream all season, and that's the 49ers defense. Just cruised through the defense, had a bunch of points, I think a rushing touchdown, and some passing scores. All around great performance. Chris Thompson continues to have double digits somehow. Rob Kelly comes back, you think he's going to trend downward. He turns it around. He just goes way up. Big time stuff from you. Clearly you're a fighter, Mark Wahlberg style, but looking forward to seeing you up there. I think this is a great story in this league. One of the new guys that's actually making an impact in this league, along with Nate Solly and Pablo. The new guys taking over. I think it's great for this league, getting that new level of competition. I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous of you just coming into this league and immediately dominating. But all jokes aside, good stuff, OGAP. Good stuff. Moving on in these rankings, guys, big time, top 3 stuff. And a fall from grace is our number 3 man. That's right, Nate Solly and his Team Brady bunch. AJ Green had a bye week last week, and I said him coming back was going to help you. Unfortunately, AJ Green looked worse than my tan lines this week. Only got 4 points. That is so brutal for you. And it didn't get much better from there. Tom Brady, frankly, a mediocre performance. And T.Y. Hilton, talk about boomer and bust. This is the kind of guy that is getting huge points when he's got good matchups and is not doing shit when he has bad matchups. Really, it's been an up and down roller coaster, and lately it has been a major downward trend for T.Y. Hilton. And the tight end spot, Zach Miller. What are you doing? Mitch Trubisky passed for like 100 yards this week. That pass offense is ridiculous. You got to get out, man. You got to get out. Okay? Urgent time. One positive is that Mark Ingram seeming to indicate that his performance last week was not a fluke. Again, getting a high-level score for a running back. Carlos Hyde, iffy performance. They were behind and they just didn't run the ball. So expect Hyde to struggle against some of these better teams like Philadelphia next week, but he should be picking it up right around the time the 49ers play the Giants. So keep your eye on that as far as the schedule goes. Nate, I didn't drop you down too far because I still believe in a lot of what your team has to offer. AJ Green's not going to get 4 very many times, and Brady is certainly going to outscore his 17 more often than not. Just an off week. It happens to everyone. But if it continues to happen, obviously, you're going to go from 3 to 5 and then from 5 to, wherever. So trending downward, but it's all is not lost, and you still have one of the most complete rosters in this league as far as I'm concerned. So we'll see what happens as the season continues, and we'll be monitoring your progress very, very closely. Gentlemen, we are now at the number 2 spot of the power rankings. It's the elite level. It's the top tier. Cream of the crop. Creme de la creme. Well, not those things. Just one less than all of those things. It is Pablo Marin. I didn't think we'd have a couple of Mexican guys just crushing everybody in fantasy football. I thought they'd be much better at fantasy football. But maybe that was just my, racism or whatever. But anyway, moving on from that controversial joke. Let's talk more in depth about something that's not controversial, and that is Pablo's team performance this week. Nothing controversial about this. You just crushed it. Ezekiel Elliott, 39 points. Ezekiel Elliott's performance is the kind of excellence that we haven't seen since the volleyball scene from Top Gun. Talk about cinematic excellence. It's a bunch of sweaty, greasy, muscular dudes jumping around on a volleyball court while Kenny Loggins sings Playing with the Boys. And if any performance showed the same kind of quality as that scene, it was Ezekiel Elliott's 39 points. Not just doing it on the ground, but doing it through the air with a 72-yard catch for a touchdown. You didn't have a ton of other really great performances, but some other noteworthy performances. Obviously, it is always a better league when Charges D comes up with a big-time performance. Arnold smiles on you greatly. Some head scratchers, so you played Sterling Shepard, who is injured, and you also had Matt Bryant, who had negative points at the kicker spot. And the fact he was still able to put up 100 points despite those two incredible mishaps is just an ode to some of the other great things about your team. Melvin Gordon did not do well, but obviously that is really more of a fluke than something that we're going to expect week to week. Pablo's team really doing very well. And that's why he's number 2 in the rankings, and that's why he's been one of the only guys who's been able to maintain one of those top 4 spots all season long without having a single drop out of those rankings. So congratulations, Pablo. Definitely the award for the most consistent team this week would have to go to you. And we'll obviously be looking forward to this more from you in the future. And now it is time for our number 1 team in our power rankings. Obviously, now we use process of elimination, and we know that it is the big, easy NFL Gabo McGregor. 3 straight 100-point performances. It was a brilliant game from your team. The most points in the league this week, just as you had the most points in the league last week. Great stuff. You did it without Leonard Fournette, who was out injured. I mean, just stars everywhere. You just shocked the world with how deep your team was. You picked up Cowboys D. Every single Cowboy that got played this week did something very well against the 49ers, and that does not exclude that Cowboys defense. And the big difference for me that I saw this week was the addition of LaShawn McCoy. You got him in the trade. LaShawn McCoy really reminds me a lot of this Gold Bond healing lotion. It serves its very good primary purpose of moisturizing my skin, just as LaShawn McCoy serves his primary purpose. But it also helps me do a lot of other things that I really, really like to do. I just winked right there, but you couldn't see it because of my glasses. But I did wink. I was making a joke about one of the bad habits I have sometimes, you know. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk more about the excellence that has been put on display. Dez Bryant flexed very nicely. 100 good level flexing from Dez Bryant this week. Great matchup, and he exploited it very well. Gabo, your team is way up there. It is the kind of dominance that I don't know if we've seen ever in this league. These last 3 weeks, you have just blown the competition to pieces. And in a season where 100 points has been, I think, harder to come by than any other season we've had. Maybe it's this 12-team setup or whatever, but your team has just defied all expectations. After you started 1-3, we knew that couldn't happen. We knew that couldn't keep up. You got a star-studded roster. Your team is as powerful as Ronnie Coleman and as sexy as the Spice Girls in the late 90s. And let me tell you, that's a winning combo right there. Take it from me, a couple of late 90s powerhouses there, Ronnie Coleman and the Spice Girls. That's going to do it, guys, for this Power Rankings video. I think it was perhaps even better than the first one, and certainly the editing will be definitely improved. It will be up, you know, sooner than it was. It won't be up just moments before the Thursday night game. It will be ready to rock and roll much sooner than that, guys. It was such a pleasure doing this. I hope you liked the video. If you do like the video, and so that I know that it's not bad, and then I can keep making the videos that you guys like. So that's really what the goal is here. Just trying to help me help you guys. All right? So that's going to do it, guys. Sorry that my production crew was on strike. I did not have a chance to do a volleyball demonstration for you. But maybe next week. I don't know when these guys are going to be back. They're a bunch of lazy bums. And more on that next week's Power Rankings, guys. See ya.